Hi everyone. Today I am going to discuss placentation and its types and also fruits and its types. So what is placentation? The arrangement of placenta that bears ovule. You know what is placenta? That's a fleshy structure on which ovules are formed. Its arrangement that bearing ovule inside the ovary is called placentation. So what are the different types of placentation? First one is axial placentation. So this is present in the case of ovary or bicarpellary syncarpous or multicarpellary ovary. The carpels meet the entire center of the ovary and placenta formed like a central column. So ovules are born at or near the center of the placenta. Multicarpellary, and ovules formed at the center in each locule. Example, hibiscus, and also lady's finger. While cutting the lady's finger vegetable, you can see that the 5 carpels and ovules arranged in each locule. Second one is marginal placentation. It observed in monocarpellary unilocular ovary, that is members of the family Fabaceae. So while cutting the vegetable pea, beans, etc., you can observe this. Ovule is born along the junction of 2 margins of the carpels. Then next is parietal placentation. It is found in multicarpellary syncarpous unilocular ovary. Here what happening is carpels are fused only by their margins, and you can see placenta develop on wall or intruding portion of the ovary. It occur in bicarpellary to multicarpellary and also ovary, but observed like unilocular ovary. The common feature is cucumber, observed in cucumber. Then basal placentation, observed in bicarpellary syncarpous unilocular ovary. Placenta developed directly in the receptacle. Only a single ovule at the base of the ovary. Example is astraceae. Then superficial placentation. Here you can see that is very important type of placentation. It is also called a laminar placentation also. Placenta develop over the inner surface of the ovary wall. Inner surface of the ovary wall. It occur in a multicarpellary ovary. Common example is nymphea or water lily. So this is a picture of all types here: axial, marginal, parietal, basal and superficial placentation. Then one more placentation is that free central placentation. Here the placenta develop along the central axis without septa. So you can differentiate from axial. Here there is a central axis with a septa or locules. Here central axis without septa, that is free central placentation. Okay. So let me conclude the placentation: axial placentation, basal placentation, free central placentation, superficial or laminar placentation, marginal and parietal placentation. Okay. So now let us pass on to the fruits. So what is a fruit? Fruit is a fertilized, developed ovary. So after fertilization, ovary become fruit, ovule become seeds. So ovary wall develop into the fruit wall, and that we can call it as pericarp, and inside it seeds develop. And the study of fruits is known as pomology, and in certain cases fruits develop without fertilization. Such type is known as parthenocarpic fruits. They are commonly seedless fruits. Then fruits are broadly classified into 2 categories. Simple classification: true fruits and false fruits. Fruit developed from fertilized ovary. So fruit derived from such ovary is known as the true fruit, and false fruit is fruit derived from ovary along with some other accessory floral parts. Example, it may be thalamus, it may be pedicel, etc. So apple is considered as a false fruit, tomato is considered as a true fruit. Then broad classification. First one is simple fruits. When a single fruit develops from a single ovary, that is single ovary become a single fruit. It may be monocarpellary or multicarpellary syncarpous. And on the nature of the pericarp, simple fruits can be again classified into fleshy fruits and dry fruits. First one is fleshy fruits. In the fleshy fruit, entire pericarp and also part of the pericarp is fleshy, juicy when ripened. Fruit wall here differentiate into epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. Means fruit wall is fleshy and succulent. Entire pericarp is fleshy and succulent, classified into epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. And they are broadly classified into two, that is fleshy fruits into two types, buckwheat fruits and drupaceous. In buckwheat fruits, there is no hard part except seeds. You can eat all parts except seeds. But in the case of berry, the berry is a typical example of buckwheat fruit. And drupe is a typical example of drupaceous fruit, in which some parts cannot be edible. So, buckwheat and drupaceous. First one is berry. It is a many-seeded fruit. Its epicarp is thin, mesocarp, endocarp remain undifferentiated. You cannot differentiate them. So they form a pulp. Very common example is tomato. You know, we can eat all parts of tomato. That's an example of a berry. Then drupe. In drupe, you know, the fruit is divided into or is three regions: epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. And skinny epicarp but fleshy and juicy mesocarp, and stony and very hard endocarp. And so they are called as stone fruits also. Its edible portion is the mesocarp. Example is mango. In coconut also, you know, three different regions are there. Its mesocarp is fibrous but edible part is endosperm. So drupe is actually known as stone fruit, having three regions. Then another example of fleshy fruit is simple fruit is Hesperidium. It is a buckwheat fruit developed from multicarpellary syncarpous ovary. It's a fruit wall having three layers. Outer glandular skin or epicarp. You know, while squeezing lemon, the outermost skin, that is glandular skin. Then middle fibrous mesocarp and inner membranous endocarp. So the fruit chamber divided into number of compartments. Seeds in axial placentation and juicy hairs are also present. And this is a characteristic fruit of genus Citrus. So Hesperidium is characteristic of citrus, having three parts: outer glandular, then middle fibrous mesocarp and inner juicy endocarp. These are the examples of berry, drupe, Hesperidium. Typical examples are there. Then another two more type, peppo. That's a large fleshy fruit developed from tricarpellary syncarpous and also unilocular with a parietal placentation. So it may be very important, a parietal placentation. That feature you can remember when you think about a cucumber, while you cutting cucumber. Fruit is many seeded with a pulpy interior. So parietal placentation with fleshy fruits. But the difference is outermost skin is not actually somewhat hard. Pome is a fleshy and a false fruit. It develops from multicarpellary syncarpous inferior ovary. One more important point is here, receptacle also develop along with the ovary. One example is apple. True fruit actually containing seeds remain at the inside. When you cut apple, you can see centermost part where seeds and its outer small portion, that is the true fruit. All other parts are actually the receptacle. So you can consider, you can include it into a false fruit, even though that is fleshy. Then Balaosta. This is a fleshy and many seeded fruit developed from inferior syncarpous multilocular ovary. Fleshy as well as many seeded. Epicarp form hard covering known as rind. Mesocarp form membrane covering the seed. You know, pomegranate is a very good example. Its epicarp is very hard and mesocarp having, you know, some small membranous structures. So that's all about the fleshy fruits. Now next is simple dry fruits. Dry fruits are having dry pericarp and not differentiated into three layers. And these dry fruits are again classified into dry dehiscent, dry indehiscent and schizocarpic. What do you mean by dehiscent dry fruits? It's again classified into different categories. So legume means dehiscent means it splits open. So it produced from a monocarpellary superior ovary, and while dehiscing it cut into two halves through the sutures or through the valve. Then a common example is pea, while cut into two halves. Then follicle is another example of dry dehiscent fruit developed from monocarpellary superior ovary. So it dehisces from one suture only, one valve only. Example Calotropis. Then silica is also another dried fruit. Bicarpellary syncarpous ovary develop into silica fruit. It appears unilocular, but actually it is bilocular. Then another very important example is mustard for silica. Here you can see fruit dehisces along both suture from base to apex. Large number of seeds are attached to a false septum at the center. That's false septum is called rhaplum. So in silica fruit, the important point is it dehisces both sides, both sutures, base to apex, but seeds remain attached on a structure of septum that is called rhaplum. Example is mustard. So these are the examples of legume, follicle, silica. In the picture of silica you can see centermost rhaplum where seeds are attached. Then last one is capsule. So this is a dehiscent fruit developed from syncarpous superior or inferior ovary, and it is of different types are there in the case of capsule. So based on its dehiscence it may be of different types, dehisced by different lines. First one is septicidal dehiscence, then loculicidal dehiscence. So capsules split open along the locules. If it is split along the locule, you can call it as loculicidal. If it is split along the septa, you can call it as septicidal. If it is split through the pores or opening, you can call it poricidal. And entire top of the capsule separate like a lid, it is called a circumscissile. So through locules loculicidal, through septa septicidal, through pores poricidal, and through separate by a lid from the tip, it is known as circumscissile. So these are the pictures of dried dehiscent fruit. First one is follicle, second one is legume, then silica, you can see the rhaplum. Silica and silicula are somewhat same, but difference is it's opening. Then lomentum is another type that we will discuss later. Then capsule, poppy is an example for porous capsule. Then circumscissile capsule, then loculicidal capsule, then valvate capsule and septicidal capsule. The next category is schizocarpic dry fruits. So first example is, means it's not completely dehisced, but it is not indehiscent, in between, that is schizocarpic dry fruits. Lomentum is the first example. When you look at lomentum, it is somewhat similar to legume, but constricted between the seeds. Dehiscing sutures are transverse, means the fruit is split into one seeded compartments at maturity. In legume, it splits into the suture and the seeds separate out. But in the case of lomentum, fruit is split into small one seeded compartments. So it is not completely dehiscing. That is lomentum. Example tamarind. Then another example is cremocarp, where fruit develop from bicarpellary syncarpous bilocular ovary. Inferior ovary is very important. Two seeded fruit, and fruit splits and form two indehiscent mericarps. Two mericarps, small fruits that attached by a thread called a carpophore. You know the fruit of coriander, malli, and also in the fruit of jeera. These are all having two lines, you can see, split open into two halves that are two indehiscent mericarps. Then another important one is ragma. The fruit develop from bi or multicarpellary ovary, syncarpous superior ovary. Here also it breaks into many segments. Segments are known as coccus. Very good example is Ricinus, Avanak. Redma, it is fruit split up into coccus or small compartments or segments. That is Chrysocarpic dry fruits, Lamentum, Cremocarp and Redma. These are the photographs. Lamentum, first one is Chrysocarpic, Cremocarp, Mericarp and also Lamentum. The last category is indehiscent dry fruits. Means they never dehisce or split open. First one is Akene. It is a one-seeded fruit developed from monocarpellary ovary. Its pericarp is very hard, leathery and free from seed coat. Pericarp and seed coat, they are free. Is hard, free from the seed coat. Then second example is Caryopsis. Here you can see it's an indehiscent one-seeded fruit. Pericarp fused with the seed coat. That's the difference between Akene and Caryopsis. In Akene, pericarp is fused with the seed coat, free from seed coat, but in Caryopsis, it is fused with the seed coat. So first case example is Mirabilis, that is 4 o'clock plant. Then Caryopsis example is our common paddy, rice. Then Cypsela, another important type, developed from bicarpellary syncarpous inferior ovary. Here you can see a persistent hair, that is pappus hair. It contains only one seed. Pericarp and seed coat remain free. Example is Tridax and some other members of Asteraceae. The next is nut. You are familiar with the nut. That is indehiscent one-seeded fruit developed from multicarpellary or bicarpellary ovary. Its fruit wall is very hard, stony or woody and at maturity. Example, cashew nut. When you observe cashew nut, you can see its outermost cover is very hard, stony appearance. That is nut. It never dehisce. Then Samara, another diindehiscent fruit. It's a winged fruit that developed from bicarpellary syncarpous ovary. Wing is a modified outgrowth of pericarp. Acer is a very good example of Samara. Then utricle, very small, bladder-like, thin-walled, one-seeded, indehiscent fruit. It's an indehiscent one-seeded, but it is observed in the smallest plant, Wolffia. Its fruit is utricle. So, Cypsela, nut, Samara, utricle, Akene and Caryopsis are indehiscent fruit. These are some examples of Samara, winged fruit. Then Cypsela, you can see hairs. Then Caryopsis, you can see the grains. Then nuts, cashew nut, etc. These are the dry indehiscent fruits. Others, Akene, Cypsela, nut, utricle, etc. Then next, so we till now we discussed regarding the simple fruits. That's fruit developed from a single ovary, single flower, single ovary. So now let us pass on to second category, that is aggregate fruit. Here fruit developed from a single flower with multicarpellary apocarpus, very important term, apocarpus, superior ovary. Each of them develop into simple fruitlets. So they all together form aggregate. So apocarpus means you studied in the first class, that is free, ovary is free. So each apocarpus, each free ovaries that become fruitlets, they combine and form aggregate fruit. So fruit developed from an apocarpus ovary is called as aggregate fruit. Example, Polyartia, Annona squamosa, etc. are aggregate fruit. There are of different types. If an aggregate fruit, the single fruitlet is berry, you can call it is eterio of berry. If single fruitlets are follicle, you can call eterio of follicle. If the single fruitlet is an akene, you can call eterio of akene. So eterio is a common term used to describe aggregate fruit. Eterio of follicle, example is Calotropis. Eterio of akenes, you can see, example is lotus. Eterio of berries, example Annona. Eterio of drupes, example roseberry. So these are the fruits, the bunches of fruitlets. Based on the fruitlet, you can give the name. Then these are the aggregate fruit, examples Annona and Polyartia. The last category is the multiple fruit. This is the fruit developed from an inflorescence. Whole inflorescence become fruit. Example is jackfruit and pineapple. So two major type is there. One is sorosis. That is a fruit developed from a spike or spadix inflorescence. Is known as sorosis. So entire spike or spadix become fruit. In jackfruit, when you cut open jackfruit, you can see a center a rachis and floral parts of the female inflorescence fuse together forming composite fruit. Inflorescence and axis and the flowers all are become fleshy. Flowers all become fleshy and center of the fruit there is a fleshy axis. That's an inflorescence axis or rachis. Then edible part is actually the perianth. While you eating jackfruit, you can see when you take a single fruit, you can see what we are eating is actually the perianth. That is fleshy, juicy and whitish. Then inside this another cover, that is seed and seed coat. Then next is Syconus. Fruit developed from a Hypanthodium inflorescence. We studied already in the second session what is a Hypanthodium. Hypanthodium is a special cup-shaped structure with an ostiole at the apex. Example fig. So the inflorescence Hypanthodium. The fruit developed from a Hypanthodium inflorescence is called Syconus or Syconium you can call. So receptacle become hollow and has an opening. Numerous scale surrounds the pore. Then center of the fruit there is a cavity also. Actual flowers grow so that the tops point into the cavity. So this is fig fruit is an example. So this is sorosis and this is Syconus. This is an example for jackfruit. Two types of jackfruit. First one is a common, then pineapple also. This is a fruit of Morinda, another multiple fruit. So let me conclude that fruits are of simple fruit, aggregate fruit and multiple fruit. Simple fruit classified into again different types: fleshy fruit, dry fruits, dry dehiscent, indehiscent, schizocarpic. Again divided into many types. Then second broad category aggregate fruit, epithelium of follicle, epithelium of achenes, berries, etc. The last category multiple fruit divided into Syconus and sorosis. So I hope you enjoy.